Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So I hope you're all doing really well, and thank you very much for joining me today. Today's video is going to be a review all about the Colette Moneta dress, which I have currently got on here. And this is in collaboration with Felicity Fabrics. I have kindly been gifted this fabric in return for a blog post. So that has now gone live on their website. So if you'd like to check that out, I will put the link in the description box below for you. Before I go into the full review about this dress, I will just say that unfortunately it has been discontinued. Seam Work used to take on this pattern from Colette because Colette ceased trading quite a while ago now, and you could purchase it through the Seam Work website. Unfortunately, they have discontinued it completely. I'm not 100% sure of the reason behind that. I think there is apparently somewhere a description as to why that has happened, but I really can't find it, so I'm not really sure. I can't give that information to you. But I have to thank Emma from So Do It Emma. She contacted me to say that actually it had gone out of print basically, because when she'd uploaded a photo of one that she'd recently made, you know, she was stating that it was discontinued, and I said, oh no, it's still available on the Seam Work website, and she said no, it's not anymore. So it was for a while available on there, but unfortunately it's not. However, Emma did kindly give me a couple of alternative options if you were looking to make a dress similar to this, and there is one free pattern that is available from the Little Lizard King, and it's the Styla let me get this right, it's the Styla Galena Dress. That's right. It's a free pattern, and it's got numerous different sleeve options, I think, as well. So that's a really, really nice pattern. It is actually one that I have previously looked at making because I think it was during the Frugal Frocks challenge that first came around. Angela from Devon Threadtails had made it, and I absolutely loved the version that she'd made, so I thought, well, yeah, I'd like to make that, but then I could never find it for some reason. I couldn't find the pattern, I don't know why, but luckily Emma sent me the link for that, and I have now downloaded it, so it is one that I'm going to make in the future. The other option is So Over It brought out a dress similar to this last year called the Nomi dress, so I'll link both of those patterns in the description box below for you, just in case you do like this pattern and would like to make something similar. So there are some options available to you. So the pattern that I've got then is the original Colette Moneta pattern in print form, and I bought this from Guthrie & Garney long time ago now, and I did sit on it actually for a while before making it, and I'm so glad I did eventually pluck up the courage to do it. I think at that point I hadn't really sewn very many jersey garments, so I was a little bit scared of it, but if you're like, you know, you've not ever made anything jersey before, don't be afraid, it's actually a lot simpler than you think. Yeah, so I'm really fortunate to have this actually. So I've made quite a few versions from this pattern, and I've used numerous different types of fabric as well, so I've had some experience with how they've turned out. And I'm really, really happy with the way this one has turned out, and I do actually prefer making it in a heavier weight jersey. The first one that I made, I don't even think I've got any photos of me in it. I made it in a viscose jersey, and I just found that that was a little bit too lightweight for my liking for it. I think the colourway that I'd used, it washed out really quickly, and also it gave me a lot of excess underneath my arm area, so I had to bring it in quite a lot by taking a wedge from basically out from underneath the arm seam there. So then the next one I made it in a Punta fabric, which was a huge mistake because for this pattern you need a four-way stretch. So by that I mean that it needs to stretch lengthways and widthways. And the Punta fabric that I used was only a two-way stretch, and so when I made it, the waist seam was literally right underneath my bust, so it just wasn't very comfortable and it didn't look very nice. It just wasn't very wearable, which was really unfortunate because if I'd have lengthened the bodice, I think I could have got away with it, but that's a lesson I learned. So from then on, I've made it in four-way stretch fabrics, and I've had much more success. So the next one I made after that one, I had made one in a French terry fabric, and I do think I have a photo of that, so I will insert that here. And I do wear that still in high rotation throughout the autumn winter months, and I really, really like that fabric. Now the French terry I thought might have been a little bit too heavyweight for it, but it's really not at all, and this is very similar to sort of that weight as well. I'm not 100% sure what this particular fabric is called, so I'll put it across the bottom of the screen for you. I do think it is still on the Felicity Fabrics website as I speak, so I will link that as well. They did have it in 2 colourways, but I think the burgundy colourway that they don't have in stock anymore, because I was going to get some more to make another one. But yeah, this has turned out really, really nicely. So the sizes that this pattern comes in is an extra small through to a 3XL. Now that's a bust 33, I think that says, yeah, 33 to 54, waist 25 to 46, and hips 35 to 56, and that's in inches. Now I've made the size small, but I've used 5/8 of an inch seam allowance throughout, basically, apart from the waist seam, where I've kept that at the standard 3/8 of an inch seam allowance that the pattern calls for. This isn't a lined dress, but you can make a different version. Now there's one at the top here which is sleeveless, and it's got like this sort of neck detail there. It's a bit like a collar, I suppose, and then at the back it overlaps. And with this pattern as well, the sort of neckline is lower at the back than it is at the front, so that's the way the pattern's been designed. And then you've got this version here which is sort of elbow length sleeves, and then a longer length sleeve on this one. So this one has got a lined bodice, whereas these two don't. I've only ever made this version here, so I don't have any experience with either of those two, but I'm sure that one's the same as this one, just with longer sleeves. Yeah, and I've gotten on really, really well with making this up. Apart from the waist seam on occasion. I think I have made a few more versions actually, and I didn't get on very well with some of the waist seams. I think I made just a standard cotton jersey version as well, which was perfectly fine, but I just had a problem with doing the gathering with the clear elastic, which I will go into more detail in a moment. So like I said, I made the size small, which is for a bust of 35 to 36, a waist of 27 to 28, and a hips of 37 to 38. So my body measurements at the moment are about a 35-inch bust, a 30 to 31-inch waist, and my hips are about a 41 to 42-inch. And that just sort of just go up and down throughout the year, as you can imagine. And my bust especially, it keeps going up and down at the minute. It's just hormonal. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that size small fits me absolutely fine. And because you've got, you know, a lot of ease in jersey fabrics, you can get away with sizing down with this pattern, I would say, because especially you've got a lot of generous room in the hip area because it's a gathered skirt. So yeah, that's my larger area where I would usually grade out, but I haven't graded out at all. I've just stuck with the size small. So the change that I also made to this pattern then is usually the neckline you just fold over and stitch down, top stitch it down, but I didn't really like that. It made the neckline really, really wide, and I like to have my bra straps covered, and I just found that with it being a really wide boat neck, there was that risk of showing my bra straps. And I just prefer to have a neckband on this style of sort of neckline. So I have added a neckband onto it, and the way I've done that is I've just literally taken the Tilly and the Buttons Agnes pattern piece for the neckband, and then I've measured my neckline whilst it was a raw edge all the way around in centimetres, and then I use a calculation and I basically measure that in centimetres all the way around, so the circumference of the neckline, and then I times that by 70%, and then I add on 10 centimetres onto that end figure to work out the length of neckband that I need to make. And I think the Tilly and the Buttons Agnes pattern piece is about 1.5 inches wide, if I recall. So then I just sort of make it the length that I need to for my neckline, and that brings it in just the right amount, and it sits really, really flat, as you can see. And then I've just top stitched that down. You're probably not going to be able to see with a twin needle. So yeah, that works really, really well, and I just find that really comfortable. And the other thing that I do is I actually make this dress up as standard, and then I put it on back to front. So I've got the lower neckline at the front rather than at the back. I just prefer that on me. It feels more comfortable. I haven't switched the sleeves around or anything like that, so I've literally sewn it as, you know, it tells you in the instructions. So the back of the sleeve is actually on the front at the minute, and it doesn't make any difference to the way it sits on me. If I have it on, you know, either way, it looks exactly the same. So that's just one thing I would say. So the waist then is actually to be gathered with clear elastic. Now my gathering isn't the best on this because I had a real nightmare with gathering it with the clear elastic. My machine just did not want to zigzag over that clear elastic at all, and it was just zigzagging in one place. It didn't matter if I used the humper jumper tool that you can put at the back of your foot on your machine. It just wasn't happening. I don't think it looks too bad, but the way I got around this was actually to not use any elastic whatsoever. And what I have actually done is just gathered this fabric as I would usually a woven fabric, pinned it into place, and then sewed it with my sewing machine and then overlocked it afterwards on the seam allowance, and it has worked out well. Now, because obviously I've used a zigzag stitch, there's stretch in that, so I can get it over my head and it doesn't pop the stitches whatsoever. You could use a Mariflex thread as well if you wanted to be on the safe side, but yeah, I'm actually quite pleased with how it's turned out. It's very comfortable, it's not too tight at all, you know, and it sits really nicely around my waist. Now, what I did do was lengthen the bodice slightly, I think by about 1 inch, because I am quite long in my torso, so I do tend to have to do that on a lot of patterns, so that's just for me. Yeah, and so that sits really nicely on my natural waist. So the sleeves I went with are the elbow length sleeves, so you could lengthen that if you wanted to 3/4 lengths, although I do think that comes in the pattern as standard, or maybe it's long sleeves. I'm not sure. Yeah, and I just really like how this has turned out. So I'm going to walk backwards so you can see the length of the dress. It comes down to my knees. I haven't changed the length of the skirt at all, and then I have just literally top stitched along the bottom with my twin needle, sort of overlocked the edge first and then sewed it up like that. So yeah, that gives a really nice finish. And this fabric has got a nice sort of weight to it, so it's quite drapey, but it's nice and thick as well, so it's really nice and warm to wear at this time of year. And I've just got it on with my black tights at the moment, but I really enjoy wearing this dress. It has had a lot of wear since I've made it, and because it's in a plain fabric, it goes with so many things in my wardrobe, so I have been styling it up with different things. And the other reason that I wanted to make this dress is because in the past I had made a Tilly in the Buttons pearl cardigan, and I made it just at the standard length, and I should have lengthened it. Like I said, I've got a long torso, just didn't even think about it, and I just found that it was too short to wear with like even high-waisted trousers and jeans and things. So I thought, well, if I make a dress, I could then salvage that make by being able to wear it over the top of this dress, and it goes so nicely with it. So I'm going to put that on now for you so you can see, and then I'm also going to put on my other cardigan and how I kind of style it up, just so you can see that you can layer this up as well. If you find that you're a little bit too chilly in it on its own, you can certainly layer this up with cardigans and things. And I think it would look really nice with a Marlowe cardigan as well, actually, in just a plain colour, in a different colour fabric. So that's another sort of cardigan I'm considering making to layer it up onto this dress. I'm so pleased with this dress. I really do like it. And because the neckline is still fairly wide, I would say, I do like to wear a necklace with it, just to, especially if I'm just wearing it on its own, it just adds a little bit of something to it, because it is such a plain dress, and my other versions were all sort of patterned. So I'm going to put the pearl cardigan on for you then, so you can see. And I will probably take this necklace off for that, actually, because it clashes a little bit. Right, so I've got my pearl cardigan on with it, and I'm going to pan you down just so you can see where it comes to, but it literally sits just on the waist seam, so it's absolutely perfect. So I'll pan you down so you can see. So this is the standard size 3. I haven't made any changes to it whatsoever, so this is the standard length as it comes. So as you can see, the waist seam is here. It literally just overlaps it very slightly. So I think it goes really nicely with it. It's just nice to have another layer over the top just to keep me a little bit warm. And I love the length of the sleeves on this as well, and it fits perfectly over the sleeves, because the sleeves for the Moneta are obviously a lot more closer fitting, and this just has a little bit more room in it, so it goes over the sleeves absolutely fine. Yeah, and it just feels really nice to wear together, because it sits just perfectly. So I've got no issue with moving around in this riding up any, because it's sitting just exactly where it needs to be on this dress. So I'm so glad I was able to salvage this make, because I absolutely love this spotty fabric that was gifted to me from a friend. Yeah, and I just am so glad that it matches really well, and I love the pops of colour on it. So that's one way I have been styling it up, and that was the main reason for me making this dress. So I have to thank this pearl cardigan for getting me to make this dress again in a plain colour, and Felicity Fabrics just had the perfect fabric for it, so I'm so pleased with it. Right, so I'm going to get changed into my Blackwood cardigan, which I wear with it, and I also like to wear it with a infinity scarf, which was another free pattern, which is from Apple Green Cottage, I think that's right, which you can get the measurements off their website on how to make it. Again, it's a really quick make that you can use some lovely jersey fabrics for. So I'm going to get changed into that now for you. Right, so this is my Blackwood cardigan. I've not got the scarf on yet. I'll show you that in a moment, but I'll just show you so you can see that, you know, it sits really nicely with it. And I love mustard and navy together. I think that's a really nice colour combination. And the Blackwood cardigan is another really nice, quick and easy make made out of jersey fabric. And I think this is just a cotton jersey that I got from Guthrie & Garney a number of years ago. Wear this one an awful lot. And I like the long sleeves to be able to pull it down over my hands. But yeah, it's a really nice cardigan actually. I wear this a lot with a lot of my dresses, and I've got this in numerous colours. But what I have done, the difference that I've made with this one is I've actually shortened it by, I think, 2.5 inches before adding the hemband on. So it does come up slightly shorter than how the pattern would usually. I think it would probably come nearer to the bottom of the dress if it was at the standard length. So the infinity scarf then that I have made, I have used a jersey fabric again, which was from Felicity Fabrics. It was an offcut from a dress that I'd made, and I just wrap it around my neck twice. So I'll show you how I kind of pop it on with this. Yeah, so it just adds another pop of colour. I think it coordinates really well with the navy and my mustard because it's got the colours in this, and at this time of year it just gives you that nice bit of warmth around your neck. So yeah, it's a really nice make, that one is actually, and I've made it for presents for people last Christmas, not the Christmas just gone, the Christmas before that. So it's great that it's a free pattern that you can follow, and they do some snoods as well, so that's another alternative if you have smaller offcuts of fabric that you need to use up. Yeah, so that's how I've sort of been styling it up really. So I'm really, really pleased with this dress. I highly recommend it if you are able to get hold of the pattern somehow. But the other alternatives that Emma kindly sent to me and I've mentioned to you, I think are good ones to try out for sure. So I'm definitely going to be trying out that Styla Galena dress. I don't know why I keep forgetting that, because I really like the sleeves on that, so that's something a little bit different to try out. So yeah, that's my review then of the Colette Moneta. I hope you have found it informative, and yeah, I'll see you again very soon. Thanks very much for joining me. Take care. Bye.